Okay, okay then we'll continue it this way. Okay, have any doubts you can, okay, if you have any doubts you can type in the chat box. Okay, let's adjust it for this class. Okay, one way, or maybe let's chat, right? We can type in the chat box. So where did we end in the last class? Yes. What part of this design process with CAD did we end? We covered geometric modeling, right? Geometric modeling. We had seen what all options it offers, what are the capabilities, what are the features, right? We saw that different types of modeling that we can do, starting from wireframe model, surface model, and then solid model, right? And it increases, I mean, the order increases the, what do you call it, complexity. So you have a very fine, very less details in wireframe models, only lines and points, right? No surface data, no solid data. But when it comes to surface model, you have surfaces now. But because there's not much solid involved, you're only operating on surfaces, modifying the surfaces, right? Using different curves. And in solid modeling, you have, as it says, solids, right? So that gives you the capability to obtain mass properties, and like also you have sectional views, right? You can take out sectional views, and these solid models can also be used for assembly, right? Which you're seeing on the right. Right, we covered this. Okay, just help me out because I'm taking two sections, as you people know. I'm not sure where you people are right now. We started with engineering analysis as well. I explained finite element analysis also, right? What do you mean by FEA? The basic terms in it, elements and nodes, right? And how we are able to do engineering analysis, how we are able to use computers for engineering analysis. Numerical analysis is what we call when you do it in the softwares, the commercial softwares, right? Yes. Did we cover this quadcopter arm before optimization? How we are using those softwares for optimization of material optimization? Is that correct? Is this where we ended? So nobody is paying attention. No? Yes. Okay. So let me use slideshow. Okay. So what we are seeing is how we are able to optimize based on the numerical softwares, uh, like I have given you the examples, right? ANSYS, LS-DYNA, Abacus, these are the general softwares that are available. So when we analyze those components after subjecting them to loads and boundary conditions, that so and so place it is fixed, right? So and so face is fixed or edge is fixed. Okay, or not just fixed, you can have different degrees of freedom constraint. Like we have 6, right? 3 for translation, 3 for rotations. So we can either constrain 2 or 3 or 4 based on whatever is it that we are trying to simulate, the condition, the physical problem that we are trying to simulate. So boundary conditions and loads, right, different in different directions. So once that is done and you have analyzed the component, you will now see the results, right? And based on the results, you will optimize, right? You will remove the material somewhere, okay, or add the material somewhere if it is required. If the stress concentration is too high, right, and it is likely that the component will fail at that point if you don't add supports, or that there is some part which is not stressed too much, so you can remove material from that part, which is what we did here, right? That's what we are discussing. That the part in blue here, as you can see here in the color band, which indicates the von Mises stress, it indicates that the blue color region has got almost zero stress, yeah, near to zero. And as the color goes from blue to green to red, the stress increases, right? The values you have there, those values are in MPa, right? So you can set the units as well as per your convenience. So now you see that this part is not stressed, right? So that is why they remove that material, okay? Because that will be, you can save that material, right? Material cost will be saved. So that's what you mean by material optimization, okay? And there is also weight being optimized, right? But there has to be some, what do you call that? You have to look at the design specifications as well. If you have the minimum weight to be kept as so and so, or if you want that, for example, if let's say I remove this material because it was having no stress, but because of that, maybe my deformation would increase. You see on the left side here, you have this deformation contour plot. Okay, the red indicates, the blue indicates you have more deformation. Okay, it's the opposite way around. You see the values, it's 1e minus 3, and as you go here, it increases 6.591 e minus 2, right? So here you have more displacement. I'm sorry, here you have less displacement, isn't it? 1e minus 3. Yes, here you have less displacement, here you have more. Basically because you have fixed this end. This is basically part of that quadcopter, right? Wherein you have this load simulating the load of the motor, weight of the motor. Here you see, here the motor will be attached. So let me show it here. Here the motor will be attached, right? So that load is what we are simulating. Instead of having modeling that motor and applying that load, what we are doing is basically just having a point load, okay, and that will simulate the motor basically. So that load is applied there, okay, and that point is fixed, isn't it? It is fixed to that middle part of the quadcopter. So when you are trying to load it here, obviously this will have a displacement, and because that is fixed, that will not have the displacement much. There will be stresses generated, right? So that is why, so that justifies, isn't it? Verification, isn't it? Simple verification, common sense, that here you will have uh, very less displacement, yeah, near to zero, and here you will have somewhat more displacement. So that is what is being displayed with that red color. So what I was saying was, if let's say I remove some material, because of that, you can say that the material which was not stressed was removed. But maybe because of that, your deformation would increase, right? It may so happen, okay? And you have to check that against the design specification, that how much is it allowed to come down, right? Because there may some part, there could be some parts down, so this might interfere with those. So these are the things that you would check when you're optimizing. Doubts regarding optimization? No doubts? Okay. So what actually happened was they had removed this material, but deformation was not checked. Although I gave you as an example, what they had observed was the stress concentration increased near those near the region that had been removed. Okay, the material where it was removed, they observed some stress concentration. So and then because of this stress concentration, you'll now again modify the design, right? So that is what you mean by iteration in the design process, isn't it? As you had said, after evaluation, once you evaluate that, if you found it, what do you do in evaluation? You check it against the problem definition page, wherein we had defined the problem, the design specifications. So we will check whether what we have got is what we wanted, right? If no, then you'll go to again synthesis phase to try out another concept. Okay. If it is okay, you'll go for presentation. Yeah, right. Very simple. But if it is not okay, and it will not be in most of the cases, you'll have to have a lot of iterations, because some of the other thing will not be okay. Okay, so that's what you mean by iterative process. Okay. So output in FE is generally stress strain, contour plots, deformed shape or undeformed shape, etc. Okay, what are the different outputs you have? It generally is what you have is stress contour plots, as you have seen, right? Von Mises stress, and there will be strain contour plots as well, and deformed shape or undeformed shape also. So to be able to see how much, for example, here you see here that black line is what was the original, uh, is where it was originally. Okay, this lever is what we is, let's call it a lever. So that was its original location. Okay, that is where it originally was. But after that yellow arrow you can see, that is a load. Because of that load, it has deformed. So you can even plot deformed or undeformed shape, right? You see here also. So that is also another possibility in the output of it, as far as the output of FE is concerned. Okay. And then you have design review and analysis. So the procedure for design review is interference checking. Okay. So what we do generally is interference checking to see whether, as I said in that example, right, whether there are some components beside it, okay, below that, is it interfering with that? Okay. So when assemblies are involved, you have to check for interference, right? So that, and this involves the analysis of an assembled structure in which there is a risk that the components of the assembly may occupy the same space, right? That is what we are checking interference for. So that there will not be, because if there is interference, there will be stresses generated, contact stresses, right? And the components are likely to fail if the stresses are not within the safe limit. So that, and most interesting evaluation feature which is available on some CAD systems is kinematics, right? So to have those linkages, okay, to check the mechanism of that linkages, okay, how it will work, right? Even those can be done. The available kinematics packages provide the capabilities to animate the motion of simple design mechanisms such as hinged components and linkages, right? As I said, different mechanisms, hinged components and linkages to check whether the velocity that we are getting at some link because of that combination of links. I believe, yes, kinematics of machine is over, right? So that will give you the idea of different mechanisms that we have, right? Single slider and double slider, with what mechanism, crank and slotted mechanism. So all those mechanisms, you can check whether uh, after designing those lengths and cross sections, etc., if you want to, you can check. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. Doubts in this? You see, if it was not for CAD, how would we do this design review and analysis in the conventional design process? Simple. What you can say is those cardboard models, right? Those were used to check the linkages, to check the mechanism. Okay, how is it performing? Pin and cardboard models. So if it was not for this uh, kinematics, graphical kinematics on our CAD system, you'd be generally going for this cardboard models, pin and cardboard models. Okay, so you'll have visualizing capabilities as well, isn't it? So just not uh, having some sketch or different. For example, I could draw 4 different steps. Okay, I can draw that, isn't it? You can draw 4 different. What you can say is 4 different stages in the mechanism, or I could model it in the software and animate it to have a better visualization, right? Enhanced visualization. Clear? Okay. Yes, overlaying of the geometric image of the final machine part on top of the rough casting to ensure that sufficient material is available to perform final machining process. So you can even check, like, after one step, how much amount of material will be removed. Okay, to be able to better visualize that. Even that can be seen, because in casting and all, casting also, because of shrinkage, you can use it there. You can even use it in machining, right? As you have the example here, can be performed in stages to review successive steps in part processing. So not just one stage after the other. You could have multiple stages, and in between each stage, you can check how will the part look and how much amount of material will be removed, right? All of that is possible when you have the CAD model. Right? The last one is automated drafting. So once that is finalized, okay, once the part is finalized, you'll go for drafting. Okay, conventionally we used to draw that, draftsman used to draw it, but in here in automated drafting, you'll use software. You have already modeled in the software. Now you will draft it on a piece of paper. Like you will take that paper in the software, any size, right? Depends on the size of the drawing. So, and the different features that you have, you see here, this feature includes automatic dimensioning, right? Automatic dimensioning of it. You all you have to do is just click those points where you want the dimensions, right? Click the line or any 2 points if you want to check, like from here to here, how much is the distance, right? You don't have to draw it, right, with that drafter and all those pencils, etc. So automatic dimensioning, generation of cross hatch areas, right? Need not to draw those hatched areas as well. The computer will do it for you. Cross hatch areas, scaling of the drawing, isn't it? As you can see here, uh, where is that B in the drawing? Here. You see here, that B is now enlarged here. Isn't it? Enlarged view. Detailed view is what we call it. Okay, to have a look at the details, because that will not be very clearly visible in a standard view. So you will take some part of it which you want to see clearly. Okay, you want to have the dimensions of it for it to be able to clearly define for the right, for manufacturing reasons. Detailed views is what can be drawn, and they can be scaled, right? That's what we mean. Not just scaling of the view, standard view, but scaling of the enlarged view as well. 10 is to 1. So we are representing 1 as 10. That's an enlarged view. Here also you have 5 to 1, right? 10 is to 1. So you can indicate those details, right? And the capability to develop sectional views and enlarge views of particular part details, as I have mentioned, right? So, for example, you see here D. That part is D. Oh, sorry, it's not D. Okay, it's this X, is what we can call it, right? In here, it is showing the teeth profile, right? So to be able to plot that as well, and needless to say that you can modify it, right? Can be modified, and also another very potential feature that we have is if, because now what you're plotting is based out of a model, isn't it? You have saved the CAD model. Either you have, either you came to the drawing module and called that part, imported that part, right? This CAD model, or you could directly in the from the model you can say you can enter drafting, right? Two ways to do it. Anyways, I mean both ways, you are having the relationship of the CAD model with the drafted file. Okay, there is a relationship. This CAD drawing file, okay, this drawing file will have a relationship with the model. So if I change the model, okay, let's say I change this thickness of the flange or the number of holes or the size of holes, okay, or any distance, okay, any dimension, those will be reflected here. Okay, I need not come to the drawing and change it. Because you have a relationship, it will change dynamically. So that dynamic change, that feature is very much useful, isn't it? Need not to come to the drawing again. Okay, make changes in both the model and the drawing. No, change the make the changes in the model, and that will reflect in the drawing. Okay, that is another potential feature that you have. Okay, and the ability to represent tolerances as well, not just dimensions, tolerances as well. Okay, a dialog box will open up. It'll ask you what type of what type of tolerances do you want to give. Okay, for example, cylindricity or concentricity, parallelism, perpendicularity, all of that, right? So it'll ask you the first one, and then what value, what is the deviation that you get, that you are allowing it to move, and then the datums. Okay, you'll study this in your metrology, right? So even that, even those functions are embedded. All you have to do is select the options. Need not to draw the box and all. Just have to select what type of dimension, what type of tolerance is it that you're representing. Type in the values, type in the datum A, B, C, okay, A to Z, anything, right? Even those capabilities are there. Tolerance, and not just tolerance, you have surface roughness, right? As you can see, RA 6.3 to be able to represent the different surface roughnesses on the different surfaces that you have. Okay, here this surface should have this much surface roughness. Okay, all those are features that you can utilize when it comes to automated drafting, right? Doubts? More doubts? Okay. So you see, so that was about your design process with CAD, right? We concluded that. Okay, now you have geometric modeling for downstream applications and analysis methods. So how that geometric modeling, okay, capability, the outcome of that can be used for downstream applications. Okay, some of those applications we've already seen. Okay, but some will be, some have not been covered. Okay, so geometric models created in 3D modeling software have been used for downstream applications as follows. The first one is additive manufacturing, 3D printing, right? 3D printing we have discussed, right? How is it done? And I had mentioned that a prerequisite for that is a CAD model. So a CAD model is an input for it to be 3D printed. Okay, you'll require processing. Yes, pre-processing is required, but pre-processing on the imported CAD model. So CAD model is
Sir, this will be in lab,
here.
sir.
This 3D CAD file is what we'll be taking, and that 3D printer.
Sir, this picture is there, no, sir. It will...
As I mentioned, pre-processing, slicing, and adding of different supports. Okay, once that is done, it can be 3D printed, right? CAD model will be required. Software used to 3D print components requires geometric models as an input to be processed further, sliced into layers, right? That's one. Also, the geometric model of the component can either be modeled right in the software or can even be taken from 3D scan data using a 3D scanner. So, two ways to do it. You can either model it in the software, or another way could be you'll take scan data from 3D scanners. Okay, we have 3D scanners available in the market. You can take scan data of that, and that will be processed to make it solid. Okay, and once that solid is made, it can be 3D printed. Same process. Okay, just that you have scanned the data from the physical object. Okay, so that is what happens in 3D printing process. Okay, but the 3D scan data has to be processed in 3D geometric modeling software for creating surfaces and other modifications. Okay, so you can hear me, sir. No, I have mentioned in the very beginning that I am not able to hear you people only for this class. Okay, the headset is not working. Actually, it's not here. So you can type in if you have any questions. Okay, type in the chat box. This process is used in lab. You mean the 3D scanning? No. In lab, we only have two CAM equipments. Okay. One is Excel turn and Excel mill. Okay, milling and turning is all we have. We don't have a 3D scanner. Okay, it is available in the market. So if you have an object and you want to capture those details, you don't want to measure those and model in the software. Okay, all you want to do is take the physical object and scan it. Okay, so that is what is there. Before slide, okay. This one you mean? Yes, that's a 3D printer. It's not available. 3D printer is not available. Okay, isn't that what you were trying to ask? Okay. So you can find it on the web. Okay, it's a costly machine. 3D printers, they are now having, because as the technology evolves, we'll have it more I mean, it will become cheaper, right? But that will take time. There are smaller 3D printers. Okay, small 3D printers are also available, and we can even make it. I mean, in what do you call, universities are making it. Okay, portable 3D printers are making. Okay, so that was about 3D printing. Another is, as we had discussed, engineering and or numerical analysis, right? Models created in CAD systems are often supposed to fulfill certain physical properties in addition to mere design aspects. So to be able to fulfill those properties, you'll have to check whether it will sustain or not, right? So those CAD models, what you have created, will be utilized for this analysis. It is, for example, of interest how fast an object breaks under load, or how air or water flows around it. Okay, that comes under CFD, computational fluid dynamics, right? How air or water flows around it. In order to be able to avoid expensive analysis of real prototypes, a thorough analysis is rather performed on virtual models. So to avoid that analysis on real prototypes, okay, testing, right? Fabrication and testing. So before that, you will do a thorough analysis in these softwares, right? Using those models you had created. And you can either simplify the models or you can use exactly those models with complicated features on it, right? Both are being utilized. Okay. Simplification or without simplification of the CAD models, I mean. Okay. And for this purpose, differential equations are solved on the virtual model employing linear finite element analysis, right? That is what is the method is used on the virtual model, right? The CAD model. The output of the finite element analysis can be seen on the monitor. If the user finds that the output results are undesirable, they can change the shape and dimensions of the object and carry out FEA again, right? So this is what you have here, the optimization cycle, right? So start from one, create a CAD model, okay, and then you have CAD detail adjustment, okay. As I said, you may want to simplify it. After that, you will go for mesh generation, right? Meshing, dividing the object into elements. After that, you carry out the FE analysis, and based on that, you either go for CAD detail adjustment, or if it is done, that is finalized. Okay, but generally it's not the case. You require several iterations, right? So this is the optimization cycle, is what we can call. So some of the most popular CAD software used for FEA are ANSYS from ANSYS Inc. Okay, different modules are available with ANSYS, for CFD, for structural, right, electromagnetics, etc. All those are available. Doubts? So he's asking whether you will teach this in the lab. You mean the 3D printer? 3D printer is not, that extra is not there in the lab. Okay, 3D printing, as we have seen, your lab consists of different modules such as drafting, and then you have modeling, and your analysis and CAM. So CAM only has CNC part, not the 3D printing part. Okay, we are only doing subtractive manufacturing, not additive manufacturing. Is the CAD model gives us exact output model. Couldn't get you. Is the CAD model gives us exact output model.